Walk with me, walk with me, walk with me. Let's walk the talk.
Hello viewers, welcome to our Walk With Me show. Have you ever thought of emotions? Everybody has got emotions and they are either good or bad in one way or another. Are we in a position to manage our emotions? Do we have the feeling that even other people around us, they still have emotions? And in our Walk With Me show today, we are walking a journey and we are going to understand what is all about emotional intelligence. Are we in a position to manage or rather to take care about other people's emotion? And with me is Bishop Gigi, a coach and a trainer who take us through the journey to understand all about emotional intelligence. Bishop,
Thank you.
how are you?
I'm good.
Welcome to our studio.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bishop Gigi is here with us.
Eh,
And today we are walking a journey towards emotional intelligence.
that's true.
Because I've come to realize so many people have got emotions, but we don't know how to manage them. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Yes.
So thank you so much, our listeners and our viewers, for this show. We are discussing about emotional intelligence. And it's a broad topic,
Yeah.
and we'll be able to speak on the things that actually affect us because we are emotional people. We are made up with emotion. One of the components of a human being is to have emotions. And when we talk about actually emotions, emotional intelligence, it's good also to know that we have what we call as IQ, intelligence quotient. The intelligence quotient is basically what we learn in school, the knowledge that we acquire. So you can go to school and acquire a lot of knowledge. That goes to your IQ, the hub of knowledge. Then, but besides that, we have another form of intelligence that is called now the emotional intelligence. The emotional intelligence is what is actually stationed or housed within your emotion, the feelings. And these emotions can be both present emotions or unpresent emotion. They can be both positive emotions or they can be negative emotion. Positive emotions would be things like love. When people love, they express their feeling, their emotions of love. When people are happy, happiness is an emotion. When people express optimism, is basically an emotion. But they can also be negative, like for example, when you express regret, when you're sad, when you, when you have jealousy. All those are emotional issues that are emanating from your heart. And we have a place within our body that houses that, emotions. And therefore, emotional intelligence, therefore, is that ability to be able to manage both your own emotions and also being aware of the emotions of others, so that in whatever you say and how you express yourself, you either don't hurt yourself and you don't hurt those that are listening to you or those that you associate with. And therefore, basically, emotional intelligence brings about our social cohesion, togetherness, and connection. We talk with each other because we can be able to share and express ourselves on that platform of emotions.
Talk of an IQ, the intelligence that I got from the school. And I understand our viewers sometimes, most of our viewers, maybe they did not even have the chance maybe to go to school. Does it mean that when those went to school, they are the one that with IQ, but the others doesn't, but do intelligence, emotional intelligence and IQ work hand in hand? Or what's the difference between the two?
So the difference is that IQ is basically acquisition of knowledge. So when you go to school, when you're trained and you're taught, and you can remember facts and figures, what we call knowledge, then it builds up to your IQ. Basically, it's expression of knowledge and wisdom. But emotional intelligence is basically being able to manage your emotion, because you can still have the IQ, you can be having the knowledge, but how do I express my anger? How do I express my joy? How do I express? These ones you can never be really taught really in school, but you need to be able to learn over time how to manage them, because we always express these things to each other. And basically, maybe just at this point, I want to say that we have disruptive emotion.
Yes.
Disruptive emotion is when the emotions come at a very high voltage or amount. Let's say you're very annoyed. We have seen people even committing suicide, killing people. We have seen people doing all manner of things, abusing other people. Domestic violence is as a cause of sometimes expressing our emotion. And sometimes when you pull these people away, you find that they are getting remorseful, simply because they are now able to consider and they regret, why did I do this? I could have managed myself well. So being able to have emotional intelligence, therefore, is being able to manage the expression of emotion, so that, especially in terms of crisis and in places of pressure, when you're working under pressure, how do you express your emotion? So that that emotion expression works for good for you and the people that are around you.
But before we come to how to express, maybe what normally triggers the emotions? Because I understand there are those positive, like the loving, the laughter, overjoyed. But there are these other negative, like anger, you said anxiety, and kind of becoming wild. What exactly triggers these emotions?
So what happens is that emotions are basically reactions of your body. Biologically, so your body is able to react to the things that are happening around you. So if the things that are happening around you are good and you want them, then you express the positive emotion. You may want to laugh, you may want to have joy, to express happiness, to laugh. But if the things that are happening around you are interpreted in your mind as negative, you want to fight them. We have hormonal issues, adrenaline within our body that we produce that excites our reactions within our body. And therefore, you can be annoyed. And therefore, anybody can express both positive and negative emotions. Anybody has got a ability to become angry. But now, to what extent does this anger take you? Or at what level would this anger lead you to? What activities? To what extent would you express it? So therefore, it's basically the things that we go through that triggers our emotional reactions to them. Because basically the body wants to react to something. So if I'm married and my spouse has done something, I want to react. But people sometimes they overreact. They express it too much beyond a reasonable limit, and therefore it now causes maybe harm to the person that they were meant maybe even to respond to.
Referring to the current situation that we are in of pandemic, whereby most of the families are forced to be together most of the time.
That's true.
So I understand the intelligence of emotion is too high, and especially when it comes to the issues with anger. Because I'm angry with how my husband is operating, I'm angry with how my kids are operating. But in this particular time, not in a family setup, talk of the emotion of anger. At what level is one is in a position now to maintain, or rather to handle the anger? Because as I understand, our conversation is that everybody is prone to anger.
It's true.
Yes. But now at what particular level?
Yeah, so like maybe about anger. Where does anger come from? Anger comes from many things, among them frustration, unmet expectation. You have some expectation, you expect something to happen in a certain way, it doesn't go your way. And therefore, that now brings anger because you want to react, why didn't it go my way? Because at that point, it's your way or your highway, basically meaning that everything has to go your way. So basically, anger comes from frustration, an unmet expectation, and things that you feel that you ought to have acquired or achieved, and yet you have not achieved. Like, for example, we have seen during even this particular period of time, because people have been brought together by the quarantine, stay-at-home orders.
Yeah.
You'll find that now they are in close contact with each other. And therefore, there's a lot of communication between the two people at home. So if they start to express, and maybe you didn't know that they're going to do that, you expected somebody to prepare you lunch and the lunch never came at the right time. You send somebody to be able to behave in a certain manner and they have not behaved in that manner. So what happens? Your emotional reactions now is what we call the anger, which becomes negative. And this anger is now expressed in so many forms. There are people who can become abusive. There are people who can become violent. There are people who can have withdrawal. So the anger can affect both you and the person to whom the anger is associated with. People have even gone ahead to commit suicide. They have gone ahead to enter into depression. They have gone ahead to have withdrawal symptoms. So somebody just keeps quiet and he cannot even talk again because they are so angry. There are even others you find that when somebody is angry, they can even, their body behaves in a way like shake. Because when there is an emotional experience within your body, even your body starts to react. Even physically, you're able to see the expression of anger. It can come even from our eyes. If you look at somebody who, through the eyes, you'll be able to see this person is angry. What do you see in the eyes of somebody who is angry? You're able to see the movement of the eye. The pupil becomes big. There are people who even protrude their eyes out. There are others who can sweat. There are others who start to shake. The body is being prepared to react in a certain way.
And when you talk of the reacting, is that individual in a position to identify in one or another they are emotionally challenged, or rather they have that challenge of anger, or it comes automatically?
Yeah, so that's now what is called emotional intelligence, that you are able, one, to appreciate your temperament or to understand your emotional expression. And that now being that ability, that's why we are calling it intelligence. That you are able to know that as I'm annoyed, but this much, and I don't want to exceed this much. And
do you think bigger number understands their emotion status?
That's basically where we are here, to educate them and tell them that they can. And we try every day to become better and better every day. And some of the things that we do so that we can be able to understand that is to look at past event. A time that maybe you are angry and what you did. Do you want to get angry today and do the same thing that you did yesterday? You can run from the mistakes of yesterday. And therefore, you can run from the mistakes of others. You saw somebody who did something wrong, bad, maybe those suicide things, those domestic violence, because of anger. Then, can we learn from them so that we don't express our anger to such an extent that it can be harmful to other people?
Can we say then that emotions are genetic?
The emotions are not okay. The predisposition to have emotions is genetic. Everybody has got their feeling.
Yeah.
That the feelings come and emanate from within, and that is genetic. But to which extent you're going to express them is learned, is environmental, is not genetic. So in terms of controlling, the same way we can control any other behavior is the same way we need to manage. And I would just give maybe a basic example. It's like going to the toilet. A small child, when it's born, they can urinate on the bed and it's okay. Yeah. But with the time, they get to a point whereby they run over time. Bodily-wise, they run. They are prepared even to go to the toilet. And with that time, they seize that. And then they cannot be able to go back the same. The same way we also run, how to express. So you know that if you are annoyed and you do something and you abuse and you tell your child, don't do that, is bad. They are learning. So even to the parents, they are able to teach their children about how to have the emotional intelligence. By expression, sometimes you give a baby and it's like they don't want to take it. Or they take it and then they throw it away. Now you correct them. Tell them that is bad, and therefore they run.
We all learn on how to manage and understand our emotions. After the break, we'll still continue with emotional intelligence. Thank you.
Walk with me, walk with